What's up, everyone? We are live. We're not live. We're here for another Real Review. I'm Matt. Joining me is Nick. He's back.
Hey, everybody.
Finally got to get him into a theater again. Life's
I
good.
know. And let me tell you, towards the end, people, shut the hell up. That's all I have to say. Like, the movie's not over, and people are becoming their yipping and yammering self. That's why I say press screenings. Let them be press screenings. I'm just kidding. I'm good. I'm happy to be here. Finally, yes. Space Jam: A New Legacy was a movie that I've been ready to see since the first Space Jam came out. You could have only imagined that there was going to be a sequel in some way, shape, and form. And little did we know that it was going to be Mr. LeBron James
The
bringing
king
it to life.
himself. Oh, sorry.
I'm saying little did we know
full home.
when it's pretty obvious that it was going to be LeBron James who was going to be the one bringing it to life. But yeah.
I gotta go full homer for this. Gotta throw on the rings. Gotta show some LeBron love. No,
Maybe some Matt Thomas homerism here. Are you all surprised?
No, but Space Jam: A New Legacy tells the story of LeBron and his son, and we see LeBron kind of struggle with the issues of being a father and putting the pressure of who he is onto his son, and how that kind of affects the relationship. And that's kind of the foundation of what this film is. It's the bedrock. And then from there, you start adding all those other details like the tunes and the full conflict and why this game is a part of it. And it just becomes so much more.
Let me tell you, first of all, MVP of this film is Mr. Don Cheadle. He was excellent in this film. Dude's excellent in literally everything that he is in. I love Don Cheadle. But he plays the perfect villain type character for LeBron's obvious hero that's going to come out of this film. But I really enjoyed his character. It was probably one of my favorite points throughout the movie. Not to say that there aren't a lot of them. They really do give a chance for every single Looney Tune to sort of have its moment, which was something that I expected out of the film, but it was absolutely positively a welcome thing in my books, just because I love the Looney Tunes. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. They're one of my favorite cartoon characters of all time. And, you know, any form of... I like Looney Tunes back in action. Not everybody does. Me and Chris Anthony Lopez, we love that movie. But, you know, anytime that I could see these characters, and I mean that for the characters, let alone the plot, back on the screen, and done in a way that, like I said, it lets them showcase why we love these characters. And that felt very good. You know, there was... as nice as it was to see them crack jokes at LeBron, it felt very much so like, you know, we get it. LeBron, you're not like Jordan. You're okay with them, you know, being a little cynical towards your character. That is wonderful. But, you know, another thing for me was it had a little bit too much modernism in it, in my opinion. Not that I didn't expect that it wasn't going to at this point. You know, a lot of recency bias jokes and stuff like that I don't necessarily think were in the original one per se. But like I said, I enjoyed the movie overall.
Yeah, I mean, you have to think about that stuff, especially because it's a family film. So you have to put in some of these more family-friendly jokes, so you rely on the recency bias type thing. Like the dab joke, there's a joke in there about dabbing, and that's part of it. There's a few things in there, but you touched on the Looney Tunes and how they are in the film and how much you love the Looney Tunes. I thought something this did better than the original is it represented the tunes well. You got to see each tune's individual zaniness of how they are as a tune, and not just just group stuff. Like, you got to see how that big, I can't remember the character's name, the big furry hair.
I could literally name them all.
Yes. How he has a gag and how Porky has a gag and Daffy, like all, and they're very much full of variety, and that's what this film really does well. And yeah, LeBron's not an actor. No one's gonna say he's an actor, but he still carries himself well. It's not like you're sitting there, oh God, he can't. No, he does a very serviceable job.
He was fine. Yeah,
he's
I
fine.
mean, he wasn't what I was going to see this movie for, though. Obviously, I was going to see this movie in hope that we were going to get more Looney Tunes things, and even and this isn't a spoiler. These things are in the trailer. The Looney Tunes characters that you can see in the background are eventually going to potentially get more love. Because, you know, and again, this is in the trailer, the mystery machine that they used was the one from Scoob. It wasn't necessarily the one from now, and a lot of those Hanna-Barbera characters we know exist within that Scoob universe, which has been announced for a sequel. So I was doing a lot of pinpointing certain things and noticing certain characters in the background, like, oh, are we going to see them again? Weirdly enough, and I'm about to say something controversial for myself, a lot of Joker, and that's fine. But I noticed that there was a Joker goon in the front row.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Used another character for that. Like, that's just me. You know, and I understand that it was probably easier to leave less detail for like the animated Hanna-Barbera characters, but I would have loved to have seen more of them in the front row interacting with the Looney Tunes, because two different studios obviously making these films, it would have just been interesting to maybe see them interact with each other in some form of a way, as opposed to, hey, there's the sixth Joker related thing or Batman related thing in the front row. A good mix, don't get me wrong. You can pinpoint a lot of Warner Brothers properties, but I do think that was probably a missed opportunity.
No, and ultimately pinpointing some of these characters or all the Warner Brothers properties during the game, it's fun. It's like a fun little, like, where's Waldo? Like, oh, there's that. Oh, there's that. Oh, there's that.
When this goes on to HBO Max, that's going to be its own subgenre of YouTube videos. Yeah. Is going to be people trying to break down where they
saw certain characters.
Where they saw certain characters, exactly. And that's fun. You know, it warrants another screening of it if you're a fan of these characters to just pinpoint. I would recommend possibly doing that on HBO just because you can pause it. Yeah. But hey, it's a good theater experience too, no matter how many annoying people are talking in the background.
Yeah, because I know you were like, oh, I don't know. I'm like, hey, you want to see on the big screen? Yeah, let's do it. And I think
it's been a while. The last movie that I saw in the theater was Fast and Furious 5. That was because they were re-releasing them. But like, I'm one of those theater etiquette guys, as Matt knows, and he's in the same vein. Not only do we review movies and watch movies, but we make movies. And I would rather have somebody be very interested in my film. There were a couple of people talking. That's just my quirk. That said, it didn't take away from the movie. And that is something that is actually really important to me, is that I can make it through something like that without losing my interest, because it's very easy for me to.
You know, and this film does a great job of keeping your interest. Overall, it's a fun experience. Don Cheadle is great. Voice acting, great. People who were worried about Zendaya being the Beyonce of this film and how her being the voice of Lola would take away from the film, there's no need to worry about that. She feels like a very natural Lola. It's half the time all this stuff's going on and you don't even stop to think, oh, that's Zendaya.
I would have Listen, Zendaya's great. She's going to be appearing in way more than just this. Trust me. So we all better get used to it. But she was fantastic. I mean, Lola Bunny is such an important character to these types of movies. And she's had so many weird iterations in the time that she's been in existence. There was the very strange
Kristen
Wiig one. Yeah, that a lot of people like, but I hate with a passion. I don't necessarily love it myself. I love the Space Jam serious Lola that they bring out of this. But yeah, definitely enjoyed this film. I'd recommend it to everybody else.
You know, and if we were going to give this film a rating, it's hard to pinpoint because part of you's back here and you're like, okay, how am I comparing it to that first film? How am I thinking about it in regards to that first film and in regards to a film of its own? I personally, this might be controversial for some people, but I prefer it more than the first film because it has a deeper story. It's not just about saving the tunes and the star being kidnapped to specifically save the tunes. It is about a father-son relationship, which hits a little bit harder or hits a little bit stronger than you think it would. So
yeah,
I'm very happy about that.
I'll give it that. Like, I think that I'm one of those people who could watch them back to back and enjoy them both the same personally. Because, and like you said, Jordan is way more pivotal to this. Well, this is LeBron's story, clearly. There's no way that it was never going to be. But, I definitely enjoyed this film just about the same for me.
Yeah. So our rating, we both have the same rating. Say 4 out of 5. 4 out of 5 reels. Space Jam: A New Legacy. Be sure to check it out this Friday on HBO Max or in theaters. You can do that. And signing off, I'm Matt. That's Nick. And this was another Who Are They? Real Review. Have a good one.